Everybody, and thank you for taking the time out to join us for our Supplier Connect webinar. My name is Mariam, and I'm the Marketing and Partnerships Coordinator for Sustainability Kiosk. And today we have our Supplier Connect webinar features Credibl, and we'll be looking at ESG data management. So I'll be handing over to my colleague Radhika, who will be taking the webinar forward.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mariam, for the warm introduction and for doing these amazing webinars month on month. I think they're great value add. And also we are looking at, empowering hotels on the journey towards net zero. And part of that is content is recorded and it goes again on the website and on YouTube channel Sustainability Kiosk under Supplier Connect. So please go in there. It's free access. And every month we feature a solution that has been validated by a hotel client who's actually used it and told us it works. So welcoming Credibl for this one. Beginning with, I think it's an introduction, then we'll go straight into Credibl, what the platform is all about. And like I said, validation is key, and the validation comes with IHCL, and the team will talk more about it. And as always, we love intimate conversations. So if anybody has any further things to Q&A, question, conversation, the team is here. Please do ask for the questions. And Credibl is also our partner for Responsible Hotelier Summit. The summit is happening in 9 days' time at Anantara downtown. You will see more of Credibl there, but this is a deep dive where we focus only on the tool, and they'll also do a demo of the tool so we can see much more what the tool is all about. And you can meet the team in the masterclass at the summit on the 30th of October at Anantara downtown. So coming to Kiosk, the why. What's our why for Kiosk is our ambition is to facilitate more hoteliers meeting solution providers. We really, really want to train you all. So our focus is on operational sustainability, and the toolkits, the trainings we've built are all around hospitality, operational sustainability. And we also want to reach 10,000 professionals by 2026, whether be it through our networking event or annual event or Supplier Connect such as this. So how do we do? We operate under 3 pillars. The first one is Connect. Connect is where we basically have a market platform where you can go and look up any solution that you think, if your hotel going through retrofit or you're looking at what changes do I make to reduce emissions, we do have validated solutions. Suppliers could list with us. Most of the solutions you could list for free. If you want to play and gain more access, then you have to pay a membership fee. And again, all the people who are with us will be again at the summit, most of them, I think. So do join in, you will see. And then the second arm of what we do is Connect Consult. We do advisory services with hotels, and these are some of the hotel partners that we work with, and in collaboration with Dubai Sustainable Tourism and with the Alliance, and also with Emirates Green Building Council. So the third arm of what we do is education. I think everything that we do is bridging the gap about why and what's practical. And we do that in a couple of ways, which is the podcast or the blogs or the webinar. So basically, there's umpteen content available for free. If anyone needs to get started, this could be a great chance. And if you still don't know, there's a WhatsApp there. So just WhatsApp us and we will sure be me or Mariam or the team. Oh, that's the team. So now that you met me and Miriam, there's formidable ladies. It's Tiffany and there's Stella. So you've met the team, and we're all here to support you on the journey towards sustainable hospitality, ex-hoteliers, and that's our passion. With that, I am going to hand over the session to Credibl. Mariam, how does it go? Will they share or do I control the slides? We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Yes, you're able to control the slides and then hand over to Ara when they do the demo platform, the platform
Perfect.
demo.
Yeah, that's great then. So Credibl team, super excited, super chuffed. I wish Jitesh was here to take us through, but if not, please take us through what you have for us.
Sure. Thanks, Radhika. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Aro Thondial. I'm Chief of Staff at Credibl, and I also head the product vertical. So happy to walk you through the platform capabilities. And then Diane is joining us. She'll introduce herself in due time, but she'll also walk us through a case study of a hotel business that we work with. We know the hospitality industry has always been about creating memorable experiences, right? So, uh, in a way, how the world is today, those experiences are pretty inseparable from sustainability, whether it's energy, waste reduction, supply chain transparency. Hotels are setting really bold goals. However, the real challenge isn't just defining these goals, right? It's turning them into measurable, reliable action, and that's where the credible, smart sustainability stack comes in. What we do is help hotel groups move from spreadsheets and fragmented systems to an integrated, intelligent layer that powers real progress. So I'll just introduce the company a little bit. If we could go to the next slide, please. So Credibl is a full stack AI company. We have three key offerings that are listed on this slide. This is a little bit noisy to look at, but it covers a gist of what Credibl does. So the three boxes on the left, the first one is the AI powered ESG platform. There we have more than 140 enterprise customers. Now it's actually 180 enterprise customers and counting. A lot of these are hotel businesses tracking their end-to-end ESG data from measure, manage down to the reporting, whether it's regulatory compliance or it's their buyer or customer-driven sustainability reporting. The second box there is a climate risk platform that's dedicated to physical and transition risk in real estate portfolios, in hotel properties, in different assets that you own or operate, or assets in your value chain. And the last piece is a material traceability platform. There we track more than 1.5 billion finished goods. These are uh, split across home textiles, rubber industry, automotive industry, and essentially what the platform helps with is track the source of origin of the material and all the way downstream, link all the nodes and provide a beautiful traceability view. What differentiates Credible is the meaningful use of Gen AI. So it is a smart sustainability stack. The smart comes from the meaningful use of AI, which we'll talk about later in this session. So if we could go to the next slide, please. These are some of the customers. Maybe we can send these out later and we can go on to the next slide. So Verdantix placed us in the green quadrant in the innovators bucket, and Credible was the only native AI company featured in the GQ, where they did diligence on hundreds of companies across hundreds of KPIs that they track for ESG data management and reporting. And we see some of the large companies of the world also there. Credible is placed in the innovators quadrant, is the only native AI company out of all that were shortlisted and featured here. Next slide, please. So yeah, let's deep dive into today's topic and maybe start with the challenges that sustainability teams face. So next slide has a gist of that. So it's important to understand why sustainability kind of continues to feel complex for most hospitality brands. Uh, and this is after saying that hospitality brands are doing a lot already. So the first challenge that we see is balancing spend versus ROI. And hotels operate pretty much on tight budgets, short-term KPIs. So even when sustainability makes long-term sense, it's hard to justify investments without a clear financial return. The second is purely around auditability. How do you even know if your ESG data is true, is something that will pass an audit? That's across procurement, utilities, HR, operations. It makes it nearly impossible to get a single traceable audit-ready view if the processes are fragmented or if those processes are on Excel. The third is the operational overload. The sustainability teams are often small, and the data collection is a never-ending exercise. And what that does is a lot of time from the sustainability team purely goes into the data chaos, and we miss the actual point there, right? The job is to make the enterprise more sustainable, but all we're doing day in and day out is churning spreadsheets, churning a lot of data, creating reports. Then the hotels, they're split across the globe. Each property, region, or brand may follow different metrics, and that leads to a lot of inconsistencies in the standards. This is not just regulatory standards. Let's say you're tracking CSRD, you're tracking IFRS S2, you're tracking the UAE laws. Uh, but each property is also reporting data in their own language, for lack of better word. The unit conversions, the metric systems, just the sheer number of KPIs that one hotel property is tracking versus the other. That leads to a lot of discrepancies in reporting and a lot of chaos for the sustainability team, who are the aggregators of all of this data and the massagers of all of this data. And finally, the regulatory markets are shifting. So we need a solution that can cater to an evolving demand from the regulators, from the buyers. And that's something that we bridge with the smarts in the system. Next slide, please. So after the problem slide, we'll talk about how Credibl solves these challenges, and that's why we call a smart sustainability stack. It's made up of multiple modules that solve for a sustainability function, right? So you'll see some upstream data sources on the left and some downstream compliance requirements to the right. And in the middle is the sustainability stack, which has your ESG data, a unified database for all ESG records, all KPIs, all properties. Then we have AI-powered assurance engine. That's a layer on top. It's like a rules engine that continuously churns your data and keeps flagging inconsistencies, keeps flagging audit gaps. Then we also pair the carbon and climate intelligence in this stack. Uh, what that means is how can we get to more accurate GHG accounting, GHG being a big piece in sustainability. And then moving on to the climate risk, climate targets. The next layer we see is the value chain and traceability hub that's part of the same stack. You can go as simple as sending out assessments and assessing your value chain for some ESG KPIs, or doing some supplier due diligence from the platform. But you can also really unleash AI in that loop where you can send out assessments. AI will autofill a lot of that assessment based on the public data that's available. So it's quite a sophisticated tooling we've built for the value chain side. And the downstream flow is reporting. So that layer also we've made really simple to follow, really smart in how it processes data. And that uh, meets your end-to-end goals when it comes to data collection, data management, getting insights from that data, and then creating these visuals, these dashboards, these certification requirements, meeting compliance standards. So that's how the stack works. And the next slide will talk about AI, and then we'll jump right into the demo. So one of the biggest breakthroughs in Credibl's smart sustainability stack is how AI entirely automates the audit readiness journey, from collection to validation to linking evidence and making sure you meet compliance. Think of it as your internal auditor that never sleeps. It's continuously ensuring every document disclosure is accurate, traceable, it's aligned with the right framework, it's aligned with multiple frameworks at a time, if you will. It begins with intelligent data ingestion where AI and OCR and natural language processing, they can extract the data from any source, whether it's PDFs, invoices, utility bills. It could be in any given language across the globe, or it could be direct ERP integrations that are also intelligent and that are more robust when it comes to audits. Then we move to smart validation. I'll show this on the platform where the platform's able to detect data quality issues. That's one big piece that we solve for. We ensure complete traceability. Every data point is linked to the right source, right supporting evidence, right methodology, and we keep it really transparent. In the UI, you'll see all kinds of audit logs, and it's not a black box system at any given point or for any given workflow. Uh, so yeah, some of the others are basic smart capabilities that AI unlocks. And I'll not talk about those, but I'll move to the demo and maybe show a little bit of the platform. So this is something that Diane can cover towards the end once we're through with the demo. And maybe Radhika, I'm okay to present once I'm
Correct.
through
I'll
with.
stop sharing then, Arav. It's
Sure.
excellent. Yeah, you've promised us so much. I can't wait to see the demo now. So over to you, Arav.
Thank you. And I'm sure it'll be very difficult to cover the entire stack. So I'll focus on the ESG platform and try to dive into some of the features that are different and that create the maximum value for our customers. Let me just share my screen. And
While Arrow's loading his screen, if anyone has any questions, feel free to just drop them in the Q&A box as we go along. And then towards the end of the webinar, we will be answering all your questions. So anything technical, anything you'd like to know further, please just drop them in the Q&A box.
Awesome. Is my screen visible? Mariam, Radhika. Okay, awesome. So this is what we're looking at. This is a bootstrapped instance of Credibl, meaning we have set up some facilities, we've set up some properties. The customer name is purely representative. This is our customer, but none of the data is uh, their actual data is just mock to give you a flavor for what this looks like in production. So we've created 170 properties on the platform. I've logged in as the admin, so I get to see all of the features, but the platform is largely role-based access control. So if I tag a user that's only responsible for a GHG KPI, all they get access to is the GHG module and the specific KPI they're tagged with or tagged on. Uh, Now I'm looking at a few properties, 170 properties configured here. There are reports that have been generated. There's a lightweight document management system that classifies certificates, evidences, policies that you'll onboard onto the system. There's an interesting notion of activity metrics where I can define the intensity. How do I want to calculate intensity on the platform? Is it by head count? For hotels, it's largely by guest night. So all of that can be configured here. I'll get to data quality in a bit, but this view really gives you insights into how much data has been collected, how much of it is missing. And this is the sophisticated AI piece that will deep dive a little bit more. There's thousands of users you can onboard. It could be a smaller team, or you can just cascade the responsibility of getting your ESG data from different users and different properties. How a lot of hotel businesses use it, each hotel will have their engineering teams who will be Credibl users, and they're continuously pushing data into the platform. We also integrate with ERP systems, HRMS systems, purchase management systems. So a lot of that data comes through to the platform directly through integrations. There's also notion of suppliers where I can uh, onboard and manage multiple suppliers, send them assessments, and then rate and rank them using a scoring logic. We also have a default scoring logic, but that's something that can be tweaked per use case. Uh, so I'll start with the measure pillar. So the three pillars that we'll talk about is measure, manage, and report. So how data is collected, how data is managed, how you can set goals on top of that data, how you can visualize that data, and then we'll move on to reporting. So the measure pillar is about acquiring data from these sites, right? So I have these different facilities. These can be large or small hotel locations. And I will just zoom into one facility here. I can have a whole profile dedicated to this facility. The users, they can kind of govern the data collection and reporting for this particular property, this location. And here I'm looking at some cards: emissions, energy, water, waste, air emissions. There are social governance KPIs as well. Uh, and maybe in the interest of time, I'll just take example of emissions. So what does it mean to have an emissions profile on Credibl is we're tracking this facility's GHG inventory, and there is a data pipeline that will fetch all of this data. So either it's through ERP, uh, either it's through a CSV dump that an engineering team can continuously month over month put through to the system. In some cases, it could also be a manual entry where I've added some contributors. This is the least recommended but often followed notion. Uh, but how did we even come to this point, right? So the platform allows configuration. It allows deep, sophisticated configurations, which pretty much the Credibl customer success team drives for you. Now, for each year, I will have a version of my GHG inventory here. It doesn't change, but there is a little bit of delta every year. Now, I'm tracking my anthracite, coal, butane, diesel, ethanol, all of these scope 1, 2, and 3 categories on the platform. I'm also tracking what are the units that this facility reports this data in. It could be different for East, it could be different for West, it could be different for different parts of the world. So I can set those units. I can set a resource level variance criteria, meaning I can set an upper or lower threshold. Uh, and what I can also do is pick a lot of these resources from the emissions hub. What this means is Credibl already has more than 250,000 emission factors that are part of the platform. They're part of the package. And all you need to do is search and discover the right factor and the right source for you. And that gets added to your GHG inventory, right? So this is something that we can do on the customer's behalf, or the customer is free to tweak this at any given point. We cover all the scope 1, 2, and 3 categories, subcategories, with very deep nuances in scope 3. It'll be difficult to cover all of that today, but happy to take any questions on how we handle scope 3 categories, which is a big piece. Uh, the differentiating feature I wanted to talk about, one of them is uh, AI validation of these evidences. And that's one way we meaningfully put AI to use. And here I'm looking at the same GHG inventory. And for some of these resources, I've toggled that I need evidence when coal data is onboarded or when diesel data is onboarded. I need the users to furnish an evidence or the systems to furnish an evidence. And what I can do is define what this evidence means. I can also define a set of rules that I want the AI to check for in each of these evidences. So switching gears, I'll just shift to a different demo instance and show some of the more relatable goals and more relatable rules that organizations can set. In this example, we're looking at a hotel property, and we're tracking some of the fuels, some of the fugitive emissions, and other resources here. Now, what I can do is, in the previous one, it was a simplistic list. For diesel, add a purchase receipt, and it should have these three rules met. In this instance, it's a little more sophisticated. I've added multiple documents, and there are multiple rules that I want to check. So in the case of shaft fuel or gel fuel, the system is checking for the mentioned resource name in a logbook that will be attached, and it should have minimum 20 days of entries for a given month. Only then it's a valid evidence. So this is really cool, where you can actually put your audit rules here. Whatever an auditor checks for when there is a GHG audit, I can just add a rule here, and I can say this logbook should have a timestamp, or if it's a certificate, I can say it should be issued in so and so geography. I also have another example here. If I just switch to a different KPI, uh, air emissions, where for a given boiler or a DG set, I'm tracking these different parameters. Let's look at some of the evidence configuration for this, right? So here, some of the rules that have been set are it should, of course, contain the name of the resource, meaning it should have the boiler mentioned or the specific resources, SOx, NOx mentioned. It should also mention NABL or ISO 17025 only, right? So that's one of the audit criteria I want the system to check for. And the beauty here is I can really express these rules in natural language. It can be any language. Here it's English, but I can really talk to the system and say the certificate should be issued in UAE, something like that. And that gets the engine running, that gets the rules engine running. And what it creates is a data quality view on top of all the data that's been collected. So we talked about facilities, we talked about rules. How that is visualized is I have both a data analytics where I'm looking at my different business units. I'm drilling down into what was my consumption month over month, year over year, which KPIs have I performed better at, worse at. But what the platform also creates is a data quality view. So if I just go here and I look at data quality, this really gives me an insight into how much data is collected, data is missing, and those rules will define whether the evidence was valid or invalid. So let's look at just this one facility, and we see a lot of data hasn't come in yet. But here, for CNG consumption, the data has actually landed. Only the evidence that has been input is wrong. And we can just quickly verify that. So this was CNG consumption. Someone's attached a bill, and this is uh, an electricity bill. It's also a lossy evidence here. I'll just download it for another demo in the same flow. But that's the power of the system, right? It can really audit on the fly. Mariam, not sure if we're taking questions in between or we're parking questions towards the end, because I did see a hand raised.
I saw that as well. Yeah, I can see the hand again, Mian. So we can do questions at the end just so that we do it all in one go so you don't break the flow. Or I don't know if it's if you're on a certain page and then you'd like the individuals to ask the questions now, it's up to you.
It would be better if we park it towards the end, and I can
Sure.
revisit the demo if something is
Sure,
worth.
no problem then. No worries at all. Yeah, so then everybody, including Mian, if you could just put your question in the Q&A box, and then we'll get to it towards the end of the session.
Thanks, Mariam. Yeah. So we just talked about how data is collected, how it's visualized, and how the data quality can be checked using a AI-based evidence validation capability that the platform supports. And the analytics also, it's as good as it gets, right? So it's curated for sustainability teams to draw maximum meaningful insights from here. And what I can do is really drill down to the root cause of uh, different emissions categories, and really look at the point to a needle in a haystack and say, here's the biggest spike. Which of my suppliers are the ones who are creating the maximum impact on my scope 3 numbers? Or it could be which of the facilities are contributing the max to the scope one numbers, and out of that, what resource is the biggest culprit. So once I'm looking at this data, I'm slightly now moving to the manage pillar where it's both about processing, massaging this data to make it reporting ready, but also verifying whether the trends align with your goals. So the platform has the ability to track your different projects, your different charters that you've taken as a sustainability org. I can have a really high level ambition like I want to go net zero by 2040. And what I'm doing now is visualizing whether I'm going to meet or not meet that goal. I can also layer in a lot of my project information here, where we have the notion of the operational projects that I'm running to meet some of these goals. And one of these projects is to expand my EV fleet. And what's the project cost? How much, what's the timeline? What are some of the granular tasks within those projects? So I can really get to operational sustainability with the platform and keep all of that in a unified context, right? So the platform has context of your data, it has context of your projects, goals, and that makes it a lot more intelligent. The more data that lands onto the system, the kind of insights it's able to throw and generate is really, really rich. And this is where I can really track my decarb projects. I can model different scenarios. What if I reduce diesel? What if I reduce X, Y, Z? How does it perform on what is called a marginal abatement cost curve? So all of that sophistication is built in, baked in. Happy to just dive into this on a follow-up call, demo. Uh, and I really want to cover a little bit more. So there's like a standard demo these days is taking anywhere between 90 to 120 minutes if we want to cover all the features. I'll just rush through some of the other cool capabilities. And uh, what that means is we also have an automation pipeline here where we ingest documents like invoices, bills, and the AI directly extracts the data. I showed you this evidence that was attached in one of the other resources where it has failed, but provided given in the right context, the system is actually able to extract the right KPIs from it, do your scope 2 accounting purely based on this extracted data. The two categories that this gets used the most is dumping invoices from suppliers, and that goes into your purchase goods and services scope 3. A lot of times other scope 3 categories like upstream transport or downstream transport can also be handled by the same tooling. And the second, we see the same use case in scope 2 where uh, global bills can be really fragmented, really disjoined the way they're expressed. And this is not a traditional OCR. So it's not purely just identifying one field at a given location. It's really making inferences, it's trying to make sense of that bill. It's using LLMs on top of OCR. So it's really robust in terms of how many languages and regional nuances it can cover. Then we also have a notion of having your value chain partners. I briefly touched on this, so I'll not spend much time here, but I can onboard all my suppliers here. I can send them reminders to fulfill your ESG requirements, whatever you need from them, meaning whatever data you need from them to make sure your supply chain is ESG compliant or is following the mandates given by you or mandated by a particular geography. And then I can review what my suppliers are saying. I can really participate with them in that dialogue. I can uh, comment here that this looks good, this looks bad. Uh, the AI tooling can also validate a lot of these supplier documents. So the same rules engine will also say this response is good, this response is bad, here the supplier is lying. So all of that QA QC work gets fully automated. And this really helps for the procurement teams in a hotel to make sure sustainable sourcing criteria is met. You can also then track different action plans that you might have given this particular vendor based on a given assessment. So last year they sent in information, you felt their bordering non-compliance, and you gave them some action plans. All of that can be tracked here. You can set goals for your kind of suppliers, supplier groups. Whether it's a linen supplier, you can ask for more traceability data. Whether it's a services supplier, you can ask for human compliance oriented data. So that's the value chain or the supply chain piece. There's benchmarking that's built in. That's an amazing capability. Again, leveraging AI, using AI models to benchmark against global company data. We have uh, a standard chat support where you can ask questions that are both in context of your organization and data, but also the broader realm of sustainability. And the downstream, all of this is flowing downstream into reporting. Just cognizant of time, I'll just take 2 more minutes and hand over to Diane. Uh, and here you can track all the different frameworks that you're reporting on, right? So whether it's GRI, whether it's ESRS, which is the CSRD, we also have support for IFRS S2. Uh, so a lot of these frameworks mix will show up here. And what that means is you can author your entire report right here on the platform. Both your quantitative and qualitative data will flow in. In case of this particular report, we've onboarded the materiality matrix. You can build a materiality matrix here on the platform. This is a DMA assessment for this hotel business, and they're filling their ESRS disclosures. A lot of environmental data will auto flow, but many social KPIs that need disclosures, that need statements, you can tag them to the right user in your org, and uh, they can then take that over. They can author this disclosure, and in the end you get to publish a doc directly from the system, even publish XBRL ready reports right from the system. So the XML uh, workflows are also supported here. And I will just cover the IFRS workflow real quick. It shows up in a smaller module that's more specific to climate risk. So, uh, since we call it a smart sustainability stack, there are multiple tools available in that stack. And for any given customer, we can unlock specific capabilities. So if value chain is your biggest challenge, we'll get you the value chain module, maybe add on the GHG and the reporting module. So it's a mixed bag that you can make out of what is available in the stack and what's relevant for you today. Now, this is an orchestration of the same stack, hyper focused on the IFRS S2 aligned disclosures, where again we have a data hub. You dump all your documents there. It's more self-serve. It asks you a lot of questions about, uh, how can you get started, getting faster to compliance. We also see a trend that global markets are consolidating around the IFRS S2 standard, and that's what I'm showing right here, right? So you can go on, analyze your value chain from the platform. We get you to a baseline value chain definition real quick. What are your midstream, upstream, downstream activities? Apologies, I just chose a very different subsector here, but this is based on your sector and subsector. Then you can smartly contextualize this further with AI, add more spend data here. And what that will lead to is climate related risks and opportunities. So I have these multiple climate related risks and opportunities that the platform is identifying for me, fully automated, using AI, using all that value chain data. And it's kind of trying to define what hazard drivers are more visible and more prominent in my value chain. Then I can move this to a more scenario analysis space where I can, go to a lat long level for a given property. I can do a in-depth risk assessment, track all the different metrics across different scenarios, go really, really deep. And the platform is already churning a lot of data on the background. It's also creating interesting visuals around what percentage of my assets start falling under a particular risk criteria moving forward by 2050, 2040, in which scenario. uh, a lot more on individual risk analysis metrics where you can say temperature, whatever, different risk metrics I want to test here. I see Radhika's hand, and I'm assuming it's a time check, unless it's a question.
Yeah, no, I was just saying it's so hard to stop you. It's really interesting, and I just feel like we're just scratching the surface here.
Absolutely.
But like I promised the team, I just want to ensure that, some of the hands did go up. We'll come back to what you had to go if there were no questions, but let's just go through any questions, anything out there. Is that okay?
Absolutely. And Diane does have
Yeah.
to cover a little bit of case study, but we'll take some questions. Maybe we'll jumble
Correct.
it.
Now have your case study open so people can start seeing it. And at the same time, we can take any questions so you can smoothly continue. And Diane
Absolutely.
can do that, right?
Yes. I'll share my screen back, and maybe meanwhile, Mian can voice his question.
Yes. So Mian's just got his hand up. So Mian, I'm just going to allow your microphone, and then you can ask your question. So Mian, yes, if you've got a question, feel free to ask now because your mic has been unmuted. Mian? Mian,
I don't
are
think he's
you there?
unmuted. I can't see.
He's muted on his end.
Yes. But one thing, Aro, when you were talking about the stack, my question was, what's the price point for the stack? Say I'm a customer as a hotel group, I'm coming in. Do we have to take the entire stack or do you have customized it?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, and very relevant to this discussion. So when we call it a stack, it's not, we're not shoehorning the entire stack to a customer. What that means is you can leverage and cherry pick the capabilities that are uh, like your P1 requirements, and maybe there is scope later to adopt more, right? So we want to be a one-stop shop, but you don't have to buy the entire shop. You can pick specific capabilities, and we can tailor the access accordingly.
Beautiful. Thank you. So Diane, why don't you give us the case study? And meanwhile, if Mian comes online, we will take his question.
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. I'm Diane Jean-Blanc. I'm the Business Development Director for Europe for Credibl. I am French, but I live in Germany. So I'm quite conscious of the time, so I will try to keep it under 5 minutes so we still have time for questions. But I'm going to talk a little bit about how we support the Indian Hotels Company Limited and how it became a strong and flourishing partnership. So we're supporting several subsidiaries within ICHL. Just as a frame of reference, it was founded in 1902 by Jamsetji Tata, who's the founder of the Tata Group. And we're able to develop a deep partnership. We became very well connected within the different stakeholders, and they even have helped us in building useful features on the platform. But before I go any further, I'd like to mention that they evolve in a luxury space, right? Their first hotel was the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel in Mumbai. And since the 60s, they really expanded internationally and with a very, very strong business-driven mindset. However, after a rough economical few years in 2022, they really put sustainability at the center of their business model, right? They wanted to ally sustainable growth, corporate governance, social responsibility, heritage preservation, and transformation while keeping and improving even the luxury experience for their guests. And with these objectives in mind, they came to us because, should I, Mian?
Mian, yes, Mian, you can just unmute your mic and then you can ask your question.
Yeah, great.
Mian?
It
Could
seems
be
to
a
be
Teams bug.
Okay.
it
Okay.
could
Yeah.
be a technical issue, isn't it? So
Yeah.
let's go
Yeah,
on.
let's keep going down.
Sorry, Jan.
No worries. So with these objectives right in mind, they came to us because they had a couple of recurring issues that they could not solve. So again, for context purposes, we're helping 3,500 users across 250 plus hotel facilities, and also their catering facilities. So like any other player in the hospitality industry, IHCL faced challenges such as high resources consumptions, waste generation, important social impacts, right? But their greater challenge was to ensure that they had both a high level and a very granular understanding of where each location was at any given time on their sustainability journey, because they wanted to adapt to be able to adapt their sustainability strategy and the practices across the hotel with a lot of flexibility. So they came to us with, let's say, 5 main problems and requests to solve. And first was the first problem was the complexity to collect data, right, across hundreds of properties and vendors. So the inherent lack of precision of that data was the cornerstone of what they wanted to address. And our solution was to avoid fragmentation and therefore errors. We offer one place where all of the data can live. The second problem was the manual approval process was creating errors and delays, right? So our solution was also one place for all of the internal and external stakeholders to check the data that they were responsible for. So whether it's at the department level, at the hotel level, or even at the country level. The third issue was fairly complex because they did not and could not find a way to compare themselves to other players in the industry. So, and of course, like when you think about it, a B&B in Scotland does not collect data the same way a US properties like Diamond Resorts, that are, for example, very heavily present in ski region, or a luxury resort in Fiji, right? So our solution was like our AI infrastructure was so powerful that it can gather public data across the world, across the industry, and create a solid and accurate benchmarking tool. But also, we automated a way to import historical data so that they wouldn't lose all of the hard work that their teams did over the years, and that across the 250 locations that we're looking after. The fourth issue was
Done.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, my bad. You can continue, Diane.
Okay. The fourth issue was the difficulty they face to trace materials and ensure responsible sourcing as their supply chains are, sprawling. So our solution was to implement a managed service for supply management, including account setup and the configuration of their 200 suppliers. And the architecture of this functionality that Aro showed a little bit is very modular. So it's very easy to also onboard new suppliers as well, wherever they are in the world. And their fifth problem, their ESG team was so focused on data gathering, data checking, and tried to publish a report that they didn't even have time actually to create and implement policies and regulations that would have a tangible impact on the business. So our solution was the automation, right? By automating the measurement, the management, and the reporting of that of those of the ESG data, we helped the teams and saved an estimated 80,000 hours of manual work, and that is time that was given back to the ESG team so that they were able to focus on what mattered the most, right? And we spared them from further report and audit fatigue. So it's a summary of a use case, right? But it's also a testimonial of how Credibl can adapt, thrive, and create trust with partners that are evolving in highly, highly complex environments. So we're not just another software service, like we're really your partners. Thank you. I don't know if there are any questions that you may want to ask Aro and I. or Mian?
Mian, let me have a look. Yeah, Mian's hand is still up, and I've enabled his mic, but he's still not. Yes, he's still not able to question. Now he's done the shop. Mian, are you able to ask your question? It might just be a technical glitch.
If not, do you mind putting that on the chat or a Q&A box?
Yeah,
Might help.
could do that.
But I don't know if anyone in the audience has like some specific questions. Of course, you can anonymize everything that needs to be.
Yeah.
But we still have 8 minutes, and we would be happy to address some specifics as well, or for Aro to show you some capabilities again.
We have a question. How do you calculate scope 3 emissions?
Awesome. Right. Thanks, Hassam. So scope 3, actually we have to solution it category wise. We've built very sophisticated calculators for each category. So I'll just cover some of the more known categories. If you have any specific category that you are finding difficult to tackle, let us know. So purchase goods and services, a lot of that is, I would say, solved from a data collection standpoint, meaning your purchase systems can be connected to the platform, or you could put a dump of all the purchase ledgers onto the system. But the biggest pain point that we solve for that category is mapping a really large purchase ledger to emission factors using AI. And that is game changing, used by so many of our customers, and these are tens of thousands of line items every month, right? How a big organization's procurement cycle is, it could be even larger. So you can really map tens of thousands of entries in minutes, and the AI will fully do the referencing. It'll pick from based on the GHG decision tree. If activity data is available, it'll route to activity-based emission factors or route to spend, or ask you if there are glaring holes in the data itself. Then there's upstream and downstream transport. That's quite relevant. There we have a different version of solutioning where, given whatever trips have happened upstream, downstream, this also applies to business travel, by the way. We just need the from and to locations. The platform then goes and fetches the geolocations, the distance between, identifies what was the journey type, and maps the emission factor. So that's another solve. So it's per category. We have different solutions for leased assets, for example, or for some product specific emission factors or product specific scope 3 categories. It's different. So that's it's not a one size fits all for all the 15 GHG categories in scope 3, but for each we will have really deep solutions. And happy to walk you through at a later point. Any specific deep dives are possible.
Just a follow-up question to that one is, so you don't use any industry-specific methodology widely used for hotels?
We are compliant to pretty much all industry-specific methodologies for hotels, whether it's the EarthCheck specific recommendations, whether it's Green Key specific recommendations, and all eventually route back to the more standard auditable lenses, which goes to GHG protocol, it goes to the IPCC, or then it goes to some of the region-specific references. But yes, we do cover all the hotel specific and more. Yeah, that's a short answer.
Okay, great. Mian, I have enabled your microphone, so you are able to speak. I think it just needs unmuting from your end, or you can just leave your question in the Q&A. So while Mian is doing that, there's another question. Can you give us an idea of the percentage of suppliers that can be addressed by making them introduce info in the tool?
Awesome. That's an amazing question, and some stats. So most of our customers have fairly large supply chains. It ranges from anywhere between 500 to all the way around 10,000 suppliers. Those are some of the large ones. So before Credibl, a lot of this process existed uh, offline as a procurement exercise. The procurement team will send assessments over emails, collect that back. Just introducing a a platform like Credibl that just does the basic, data fetch, onboards data in one place, and lets them launch assessments through the platform. That gets to about 15 to 20% efficiency gain. So meaning if you were out of 1,000 able to do 100 first, now you'll be able to do, let's say, 125, 150 more, right, out of the total. So that doubles your previous efficiency, maybe in that case. Uh, but we also have, unlocked many more capabilities on the supply chain assessment side, which has now gotten that number more closer to the 55% efficiency gain. And one of those examples is the AI crawl for public sustainability data, right? So out of your 1,000 suppliers from that example, let's say you were getting data from 100, the Credibl standard tooling allowed you to gain 100, 150 more. So now you're at 250 suppliers, 750 are still left. And it will be a moving target. You will have to set rules, mandates, give them, take the stick or the carrot approach. But a large part of that supplier list will be companies who've already disclosed sustainability data in the public domain. They've published a sustainability report, or they've done some public disclosures on the website, or they've filled in the CDP assessment. So what we're able to do is use the AI crawl to fetch a lot of that data, fill that assessment directly on the company's behalf, and say this was fetched by AI, cite the right source. So that gets you to, about 55% efficiency gain from where you start. So it will be a moving equation, but the Credibl platform can do a lot of heavy lifting. And the first piece will be streamlining that process. The second piece is automating and bridging the holes with AI.
Awesome. Thanks, Aro. So I just got Mian's questions. He is asking if it's cloud-based and any of the
Yes.
price details, please.
Yes, so it is cloud-based. It's hosted on Azure and in the client's specific geography. So we meet all local uh, data residency, data protection rules. Uh, the cloud per se is entirely managed by us. It's a SaaS model. I cannot give pricing numbers directly without understanding the hotel size, the number of hotels, the number of properties, but I can give you the pricing model. There's an annual component, there's an annual license to use the Credibl platform. The license is based off how many properties do you want to track on the system and how many reports do you want to generate, right? So it's purely that. There's no cap on the number of users. And then there's a small one-time component that's just implementation, that's year one cost, right? So happy to provide more details based on the use case.
Great. And sorry, one last question. How can we access this
Radhika has
platform?
been
I'm just
meaning to say
conscious on the
something.
time. Radhika,
No,
yes,
I
go
was
ahead.
just saying, Mian, if in case you can't reach Aro, we will share the details of Diane Aro once we send
Yes.
out an event deck
Yes.
with everything. So just reach out to the team directly so you can have the one-on-one to get all your questions answered.
I'm so sorry I have to leave. I have another call, but it was great. Thank you so much for having us. And yeah, we'll be answering your questions also offline. But thank you so much. And I'm sorry I have to go.
Thank you very
Have a
much for
good-
your time, Diane.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very
Have a
much.
Thank you,
good
Diane.
afternoon.
There is
Bye.
genuine appetite. So I think, yeah, 30th of October, we're going to have more questions.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So we can just take one more question and then we can wrap up. So the last one is, how can we access this platform?
Sure. So to access the platform, you'll have to buy a license, and then it's just about logging in using your platform credentials or logging in through your organization's SSO. It's all in the cloud, nothing on your device, nothing on-prem. So all you need is a working internet and a PC, and you can just type the URL on your browser, enter your details, and you're good to go.
Great. Thank you so much, Aro. All right, so I think we can wrap this all up now, as we've just run a couple of minutes over time. So this webinar is being recorded, as Radhika mentioned earlier, so it will be going onto YouTube, and I will be sending a follow-up email to all the attendees with Aro and Diane's details and information, so you can get in contact with them directly. So I do hope that you all learned something today. There's, as Radhika said, there's a lot of appetite. So lots of questions. So yeah, I'm glad to see that. So that's all from my end. Radhika, or if you have anything else.
Thank
All
you.
good.
All good.
Thanks, everyone.
Amazing. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for your time. And yes, please keep an eye out on your inboxes for the follow-up email in the coming days.
Thank you, Maria. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye,
Bye, everyone.
everybody. Goodbye. Bye.